This story is going to probably get me in trouble on YouTube, but I don't care. It's a very serious story that needs to be talked about, and it's going to boil your blood. I'm not kidding, man. I'll give you the gist of it. A disgusting accused criminal who was arrested for abusing a woman. Because of COVID, they argued he should be released, and they released him. And he went to the victim, and he put a bullet in her head. This is one of the most disgusting, horrific failures of law enforcement. And I am sick and tired of seeing things like this. And it's not the only one. We've seen similar stories like this over bail reform in New York City, where they say, okay, we're going to, you're not supposed to get out on bail reform if you're a violent offender. But they've lowered charges or said, we're going to release you on certain terms because it's the right thing to do. This guy went to the victim and he ended her. And this is one of the most disgusting things. Now, I know, like I said, there's bail reform stories similar. But here's a guy who got released because of the coronavirus pandemic. It's ridiculous to let these criminals out. Maybe some people, perhaps, maybe non-violent offenders. I don't know. But at a certain point, you got to draw the line, right? I'm going to read you this story. YouTube's probably not going to be too happy about it, but let's go for it. Released from jail at the height of the pandemic, Virginia suspect allegedly killed his accuser. The incident in Carla, I got to stop here. This is not family friendly, okay? You've been warned. The incident in Carla Dominguez's apartment last October was violent and it was not consensual. She testified in Alexandria District Court in December. The man she accused was indicted on charges including rape, strangulation, and abduction and jailed without bond in Alexandria. You see, they said, we understand this guy's violent. You're not being let go. Oh, but now we have an excuse, huh? Then the coronavirus pandemic hit. Ibrahim E. Bouachi's lawyers argued that the virus was a danger to both inmates and their attorneys, and that Bouachi should be freed waiting trial. On April 9th, over the objections of an Alexandria prosecutor, Circuit Court Judge Nolan Dawkins released Bouachi on $25,000 bond, with the condition that he only leave his Maryland home to meet with lawyers or pretrial service officials. On July 29th, Alexandria police say Bouachi, 33, returned to Alexandria and shot and killed Dominguez outside her apartment in the city's West End. Why did they let him go? They knew why they shouldn't. That's why he wasn't let out on bond. And under the guise of coronavirus fears, they let him out, and they knew this would happen. I'm going to stress it. They initially held him without bond for good reason, I would assume. But no, COVID, too dangerous. Let him out. A violent criminal. When police couldn't find Bouachi after the slaying, they issued a video news release asking for the public's help in locating him, declaring him armed and dangerous. Then on Wednesday morning, federal marshals and Alexandria police spotted Bouachi in Prince George's County and pursued him, causing Bouachi to crash. Authorities said when the police went to arrest Bouachi, they found he had apparently shot himself. He was reported to be in grave condition Thursday. He decided to end it all. Bouachi's release from jail and the slaying of Dominguez represent a tragic side effect of the pandemic. As the coronavirus erupted in America, civil liberties advocates called for the release of large numbers of prisoners from jails and prisons in order to keep them from being infected and possibly dying in unnecessarily confined spaces. Is that what they meant? In Alexandria, Bouachi's lawyers said in their motion for bond that social distancing and proper disinfecting measures are impossible while incarcerated. Simply put, the risk of contracting COVID-19 in jail is exceedingly obvious. The lawyers, Manuel Leyva and Frank Salvato, also noted the risk for themselves in the jail, saying that lawyers seeking a contact visit would also expose themselves to contaminated air and surfaces. Leyva and Salvato also claimed that Alexandria Jail had imposed severe restrictions on visitation since COVID-19 outbreak. That all contact visits, meaning no glass or separation between visitor or inmate, were stopped, and that the lawyers could only have video conference sessions lasting 30 minutes maximum. A trial date was set for Bouachi, and his lawyer said he was being effectively deprived of legal counsel. Alexandria jail officials responded that they do allow contact visits for attorneys upon request, and have accommodated several requests. We have also provided video conferences in excess of 30 minutes, jail spokeswoman Amy Bursch said. However, we do not have any record of Mr. Leyva or his co-counsel requesting a face-to-face visit with Ibrahim Bouachi after the protocols went into effect in late March. So you mean to tell me these lawyers never actually sought a real meeting in the jail? They just saw a pretext for getting this guy out. Now, hey, man, that's some good lawyering. I'll tell you what. I think it's the right of an individual to have a good lawyer. So I'm not necessarily going to blame the lawyers per se. I am upset with the court systems. I am very upset with the Democrats for pushing this stuff. And I am just so angry. I often think about these moments where something just tragic happens. I don't know if you've ever watched a video of a horrific injury. They have subreddits called, there's one subreddit called Hold My Feeding Tube, where you can see people get severely injured. There are moments like when I was watching that NBA guy who stood for the national anthem. I think Jonathan Isaacs is his name. And right before he's about to jump to make a shot, he falls down. And I see that and I think to myself, a split second sooner, he could have just not made that move and he would not have tore his ACL. He got seriously injured, right? I think about this, that one moment where the judge could have said yes or no, the fork in the road that resulted in the death of a rape victim by her assailant who decided to go and end her. The judge was sitting there. One word could have changed everything. No. And that would be it. And this woman would still be alive. Yet we see this across the board. We see it in states like New Jersey, New York. The decisions made over and over again by these failed and these moronic, officials. At a certain point, you say no, right? What was the reason this man was held without bond in the first place? Shouldn't that play a factor in whether or not you're going to let him out for any reason? There are threats inside jails. And I've even entertained the question, the morality of keeping someone locked up when it comes to COVID. Does the state have a right to keep someone in a confined space when there's a plague? When there's a pandemic? I think the answer is nuanced. Obviously, in this instance, this guy should not have been let out. Innocent until proven guilty, I know. But the system is not perfect. We have it in place the way we do for a reason. And this is exactly that reason why you don't just let anybody out for any reason. Bursch noted that the jail implemented increased cleaning and health screenings in early March, and there were no cases of COVID at the jail during their client's incarceration. Alexandria Commonwealth's attorney Brian L. Porter said Leyva and Salvato filed their motion on April 8th, and Clark set the hearing for the next day. So prosecutors did not file a written response. Porter noted that under Virginia law, those charged with certain violent crimes, such as rape, are presumed to be a danger and are not eligible for bond. We strenuously argued that the presumption against bond, Porter said, had not been overcome. Given the facts of the case and the violent nature of the alleged offenses, he declined to provide details on the attack because both the rape and the murder cases against Bouachi are pending. And he's still alive, I guess. Judge Dawkins retired in June after serving 12 years as a circuit court judge and 14 years before that on the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court. He did not respond to a request for comment. Judges typically are prohibited from commenting on pending cases. Very little information is available about Dominguez, who police said was a native of Venezuela and did not have family in this country. A GoFundMe account was launched after she was killed to help pay for her funeral, but the organizer did not respond to messages seeking comment. Dominguez lived on South Greenmount Drive in the town square at Mark Center Apartments. Alexandria police said they received a report of gunshots on July 29th, and at 6:20 a.m., they found Dominguez outside her apartment dead of multiple wounds to the upper body. Police obtained a murder warrant for Bouachi 2 days later, but could not find him. In October, Dominguez called police and alleged she had been assaulted by Bouachi on October 10th. Bouachi was charged with 6 felonies. I'm not going to read these. This is disgusting. He was held without bond at a preliminary hearing before Alexandria General District Court. Chief Justice Judge Donald M. Haddock in December. They dismissed. Okay, let me say. At a preliminary hearing before Alexandria General District Court, Chief Judge Donald M. Haddock in December, prosecutors dismissed the rape and malicious wounding charges, and Haddock found probable cause to send the case to a grand jury. He denied a request to allow Boichi to post bond. The grand jury indicted Boichi on 5 charges: rape, sodomy, strangulation, abduction, and burglary. A trial date was set for March 30th, and Leyva and Salvato's bond motions indicates they were preparing for trial until the courts shut down in March due to the coronavirus, and trials were postponed. The 2 individuals involved were boyfriend and girlfriend, the lawyers wrote, and there is a substantial defense here. Okay, I'll tell you what. Innocent until proven guilty. Is it possible this man was falsely accused and was being held and then got revenge against anyone falsely accusing him? Sure. These are tough issues to navigate, man. And if that was the case, then justice is a difficult thing. It really is. But now this woman is dead. So regardless, this shouldn't have happened. And it did. Because this is the game they play with violent offenders. There is no perfect solution. And I often like to err on the side of freedom instead of security. But there's got to be a line, I suppose, and this was certainly it. And they crossed it. They said, let this guy out. And so he went and he got his revenge for whatever reason. I guess, they say he was released from jail May 11th. I guess he's still alive, and we'll see how it plays out. I got one more segment coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.